Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be here. As Erin mentioned, I'm Brittany Gelsomino. I work at Discover. And before I get started, I'm going to do a quick poll. Raise your hand if you knew that, know that Discover is more than just a credit card company. Okay, my two Ally Bank people over here, a couple of people. Right, that's my challenge. We are actually a full-service bank. We have banking products like checking and savings. We have mortgage products, personal loans, as well as all of our credit cards. But no one knows, right? In fact, we are a bank with a game-changing product called Discover Cashback Debit. This is a free checking account that gives you cash back on purchases automatically. We are the only major US bank to automatically give cash back on purchases, debit card purchases, on a free checking product, right? So it is a revolutionary product. And there's no catch, right? People are like, well, what's the catch? I don't understand. There is no catch. It is truly free. We do not have fees unless you want to do an international wire, right? So why don't I have tens of millions of customers just banging on the doors that we don't have, right, my website, and opening this product, right? It's because we have no awareness. Our unaided awareness, now I should pause for a second. We started this journey 10, 12 years ago when we first launched this product. We have revamped it over the years. But in 2021, we said, we're going to make this product what it is. So we added all the features and benefits that I just had on the last slide. In 2022, our unaided awareness for this product was 2%. Our aided awareness, right, so unaided is you just ask everyone in the room here if there's 100 people, only 2 people would say that they knew Discover had a checking account, right? Our aided awareness was less than 20%. So terrible, right? Meaning if you put our brand, Discover, in front of people, less than 20% of people would say, yeah, you have a checking product. And we compare ourselves on a quarterly basis among 7 of our peers, right? So big national banks, regional banks, some fintech banks, right? And we track our awareness consideration against those other banks. We were ranked 7 out of 8 in consideration. So of the less than 20% of people who actually knew, right, Discover had a product, they would barely ever actually consider opening that account. So with this 2% awareness, when I found out about this stat, we started calling this product our little peacock because it is beautiful and people cannot believe that they exist in the wild, right, when they actually see them. But just like peacocks, did you know they only fly 2% of the time, right? So only 2% of the people knew that this product existed. And so we had to do something about that. I'm on the bank side, right? We're like the little startup at this big credit card company. The other challenge that we had was Discover wasn't growing as much as we wanted to grow, right? So, is the sound down?
Peacock, you gotta let me fly!
So this is how our product felt, right? We were getting real frustrated on the debit side. We wanted to fly, right? And so as a company, we set out to say, A, how do we get people to understand that Discover is more than just a credit card company, so we can grow beyond just credit cards, right? And how do we then go and promote this cashback debit card? This is a big task. We're going from, just being a credit card company to now a full-service bank. We also want to brand this product. How in the world do we do that? But then do it in a way that we can branch beyond just a product launch, right? And create a comprehensive campaign. And so we set out to create a new brand campaign for Discover. So this is a chart from 2019 to 2022. Going back to what I was talking about in consideration, you can see Discover and some of our main competitors that we're tracking, we really punch above our weight. We're small compared to some of our bigger competitors. Our budget is half of what some of our bigger competitors have. And we've still done a really great job growing our consideration over the years. But as you can see 21, 22, our considerations started getting stagnant. And our competitors, some of our top ones, were pulling away. And so this is when we set out and said, what do we do about this brand challenge? And let's go out and do something splashy. Let's go out and do something we've never done before at Discover and launch a product other than a credit card in mass media for the first time ever. So thus began Project Brightside to make our peacock fly. So as many of you know, teams are very siloed. We have what typically is a card brand team, because all of our brand awareness, TV, radio, was run for card, right? So our media team was very card focused. They only understood the card product. They really didn't know much about our banking products. So we had to partner with them. We had to partner with our consumer insights team and really help bring together an understanding of, if we're going to launch this product, who are we going after, right? It's not the typical credit card audience that we would go after on our traditional media plans, right? We're going after a younger audience that is a little less affluent than we would typically go for on the credit card side, right? So how do we show up in media to attract those types of users instead of just our credit card users? How do we not, compete against the other brand marketing that's out there for credit cards? How do we continue to evolve this product, our customer service, right, and get people aware of this product? And finally, is it going to work? So we came up with the perfect formula. Our campaign, we coined it as especially for everyone. This is our internal, right? This is not necessarily externally shared. But with Discover, you don't have to be a VIP to be treated like one. And as we were on this search, we went through multiple campaigns, right? As I said, we were partnering with Consumer Insight. We had probably 4 or 5 different big ideas that we went into. We explored different celebrities. Discover's never worked with a celebrity up until this point also, right? So key point there. And we went through a ton of testing. And Jennifer Coolidge resonated with every age group, with every demographic that you could possibly want to resonate with. And so, yes, we're going after a younger audience. We want to bring in new to Discover people, but also we still want this campaign to branch outside of just a deposits product and really carry through as Discover as a whole, right? And so we need to make sure that we're still appealing to a mass market. And Jennifer Coolidge did that. And so the combination of Jennifer Coolidge plus a new free checking account that gives rewards, it's the only one in the market from a major brand, was the winning combination. When we tested this, we were through the roof in breakthrough, brand recall, and brand persuasion, 3 of the main factors that we measure in testing for commercials. And so we knew we had something big. Not only did we have our peacock, but we also had our shining celebrity who was so in, right? So Aaron mentioned I got to meet Jennifer Coolidge. She is everything that you want her to be and more. They always say, never meet your celebrity heroes because they're always assholes, excuse me, right? Or never who you wanted them to be. But she is everything you wanted her to be, and she was in love with our brand. So it was just the perfect combination. She is for the people, and this campaign was very much for that, with that mindset for everyone. And so she was excited to work with us, and this really came to life.
You're such a good listener, Thomas. It makes me feel so special.
You are special. If you don't mind, if you could just...
This makes me feel really special, too, because, Discover's giving me cash back on debit, not just credit.
Actually, Discover gives cash back on debit to everyone.
Everybody?
Everybody, if you could just...
What about Debbie Johns? All those years that I couldn't find my bike, it was in her garage. Like, she gets it.
If she has Discover Cashback Debit, then yeah.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back for everyone.
So that was the first commercial that we launched with. And we launched in a big way in October of 2023. You may or may not have seen that commercial, or you may or may not have seen our media across social, digital, et cetera. But between my team, which is focused on performance marketing, right? So affiliates, search, display, social, driving conversions, And our media team, which is driving that awareness and traffic to our site, we launched in a huge, huge way. We partnered with Mindshare, our media agency, and we came up with a media plan that is extremely different than what we would typically launch with on the credit card side. Typically on the credit card side, our media plan is about 70% digital. For this campaign, and I could have gone so many different ways with this presentation because we did a whole set. We did 9 DMA tests leading up to this launch to help us inform how we got to our media mix and what channels worked best and why we wanted to be where we showed up. And so that really helped inform how do we go after this younger audience. And it actually showed that a 90% digital mix performed significantly better than our traditional 70 to 75% digital mix. And so that's how we went out. It ended up being slightly less because of upfronts and the restrictions that you have there. But we sponsored Bad Bunny's launch on YouTube. We did, it was so funny seeing some of our executives being like, Bad who? What? Right? And they were like, are you sure that this is what we want to be doing? But it was wildly successful. And our brand ad, right? So we measured a couple of things, right? Performance overall, but our brand ad performance hit 17% brand recall in just 1 month. That is wildly successful for anything that we have done at Discover. The next best one that we had done was our Freeze It commercial back in 2014, I think. And it had less than 15% brand recall in the first month. And our recent one before we launched our Jennifer Coolidge campaign, our fraud campaign, only hit 6% in the first month, right? Compared to one of our competitors, who may now be my boss at some point, they launched their banking products and they hit about 17% branded recall in their first month as well. And so when we compare this to some of our big competitors, this was fantastic performance. And we saw great results on the media side. We had over 10 billion impressions in the media. This is the most Discover has ever spent in 1 quarter, because not only did we have this campaign going, but we also slowly started ramping up our campaigns for credit cards. And I'm sure most of you saw the commercial in overtime in the Super Bowl this year, the robots commercial. So that was the extension off of Cashback Debit and bridging into customer service. And then now we are launching credit card rewards ads with her. But 10 billion impressions, our deposits site alone, right? So you have your main discover.com, and then we have discover.com/online banking, saw almost a 360% lift in organic and brand site visits. And our card site, discover.com, saw a 6% lift. So people were all just going to our credit card site because of this as well, which is exactly what we wanted to see, that halo effect into our card business. And then finally, our one post with Jennifer Coolidge, she did a teaser ad where she held up our debit card and was putting on her makeup, and she was like, I'm working on something good. Can you guess what it is? Had the most social engagements that we have ever had on a social post. We had Old Navy, we had all these different brands chiming in, being like, I know what I'm gonna use my cash back on, right? So it was fantastic and wildly successful there. Oops, I hit back, sorry. And then consideration, right? Consideration is a really hard metric to grow. In 1 quarter, we grew our checking consideration by 3 percentage points, and overall, the Discover brand by 2 percentage points, which has remained flat to now. So this new news, plus Jennifer Coolidge, really helped propel the consideration for our entire brand, not just the deposits brand. And finally, as a performance marketer, our checking accounts went through the roof. We grew 65% year over year from 2022 to 23, 55% from 23 to 24, and the best part is over 50% of the customers who opened up accounts with us on the checking side were new to Discover. So what does that mean? Today, we market our debit products, our loan products into our giant credit card base. But tomorrow, bringing in new to Discover customers, we will be able to shape the future of our credit business. I was chatting with the Media Post folks in the back, and they were like, oh, Discover, you were our first credit card. And I hear that so much. We have a student card, we have a secured card. That's awesome, right? But that only gets us so far, right? We want to get people in their first relationship so we can bring them in new to our bank and then cross-sell our credit products to those debit products. So I'll leave you with this last commercial that didn't air very much, but you may be seeing again this year.
Discover Cashback Debit gives everyone money back on the stuff they buy. I even got it on this. Oh,
Hey, do you mind not doing that?
well, where else am I supposed to use a marine air horn for boats?
Introducing a checking account with cash back and no fees.
So that's a little bit about our journey. I'm happy to chat more, answer any other questions, but thank you so much. And
Questions, yeah. Thank you, Brittany. I have never been more jazzed to sign up for a credit card. I am so amped right now.
Checking account.
Checking account.
Gosh, darn
Damn,
it.
I'm failed. Come on, Aaron, you're better than this. Questions for Brittany?
Hi, Brittany. Jim Kinsicki from Group M. You mentioned this is the first time that Discover used talent or celebrity in advertising, also the most you've spent in a quarter. Can you speak to the process of selling this internally, how long it took, kind of any secrets you could share that might be helpful there?
Yes. So my brand team did a lot of that, right? So my role was very much product consulting to the brand team and making sure that they understood who we wanted to go after, what our audience wanted, thought, needed, how they would use this product, so they could shape more of that media and brand strategy. So I will give a lot of credit to Jen Murillo, our CMO. She knocked it out of the park, but our previous CMO was let go. We brought in someone new to this role who had previously she was an SVP in brand before, and she had a really great relationship with our CEO. But we did a ton of testing. So that was the first, right? As I said, I think we had 4 or 5 different actual campaigns. We whittled it down to our top 3 after rounds of testing. 1 did not have a celebrity, and 2 had celebrities, and the 2 with celebrities blew the one without the celebrity out of the water, and there was just no contest. And so we took a very data-driven approach, but I think Jen did a really great job. She had that existing relationship with Roger, and as I showed, we were flat in consideration. We hadn't grown very much. We were struggling a little bit there, so we knew we needed to do something new, but very calculated new. So I think hopefully that answers your question.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Alana Wiles, ally. Oh, sorry. Okay, so you mentioned that this was one of the biggest launches that you guys had ever had. So much support, so much investment. At what point did you guys start to think through what more of a sustained strategy could look like?
Yes. Sustained strategy started from the beginning, and I will tell you, thank you to Capital One, sorry if any of you are here, and the announcement that they are acquiring us. That sustained strategy got put on hold, will be picked up later this year, which by the time we relaunch, it'll be a relaunch anyway and no longer a sustained strategy. So it definitely, there was a wrench thrown into the plan for sure. We were supposed to have a significantly bigger budget this year for debit specifically, and that got pulled back so we could focus more on the network, which you'll see those ads coming out. So, but we started talking about the sustained strategy right away. We had that mapped out. So what does that look like for launch, for the 2 quarters after, and then the year following that? And we had that pretty much aligned through the top. And unfortunately, things happen, and we had to pivot.
One more question over here.
Yeah, hi Brittany. Great presentation. Robbie Giles, Masterclass. You talked a lot about brand recall and consideration. In my experience, those are usually metrics that you'll get at the end of a campaign or on a monthly basis, weekly basis. I'm just wondering, on a day-to-day basis, were there other metrics your team was looking at to kind of know, are you headed in the right direction so you knew what to expect when those brand recall and consideration metrics came in?
Such a good question, and I loved the previous session about measurement. So I will kind of piggyback off of everything that they had said earlier. But on the performance side, because our brand team and our acquisition team on the card side are very separate. They don't work together very much. So there is no cohesive MMM, MTA, nothing like that. Acquisition does their thing, brand does their thing. We wanted to go into this differently because we needed to measure the bottom line of what this did for debit and how then this resonated and haloed into not just debit, but other banking products. We saw, by the way, 30% of people open up a savings account after they opened a checking account, and about 8% opened a credit card account, right? So we had to measure all of that. So we partnered a lot with Gartner and Google to come up with a three-pronged measurement approach. We already had a multi-touch attribution model built, and we were very good at that. But it had gaps, and it didn't tell us any of the upper funnel. So we structured, as I said, we had done a lot of incrementality testing, so DMA testing in the beginning. So we had 9 different tests that we had done in 2022 to inform a lot of the channel mix, and what those specific efficiencies were. And then we partnered with TU, so I know some TU people are here today. We partnered with TU to launch a MMM with them. And so we came up with a comprehensive, we call it our triangulation measurement, where the MTA measures our day-to-day. So we know on a day-to-day basis which direct channels that we can measure are performing. We then have the MMM overarching on a quarter lag, right? That tells us then, from a comprehensive view, which of these channels are incrementally the most beneficial, right? So we actually saw that online video was by far and away the most incrementally efficient channel for a product that had no awareness, which was surprising to pretty much everyone. Whereas like paid search wasn't as incrementally efficient, whereas in our MTA, it is the most efficient channel that we have. And then finally, the third piece, well, I guess, so those 2 pieces together, right? And then we had the results from the incrementality testing that we could then feed into the second round of the MMM to help shape that model and tweak where we, wanted to test again, right? So then we did paid search incrementality tests because the MMM showed that it wasn't as incrementally efficient. But then we take that, and Google gave us this entire formula that our analytics team has, where they come up with an incremental measurement for each of the channels that we know MMM, MTA, incrementality testing will give you 3 different measurements, but we have now a conversion metric that ties all 3 together and helps us further inform that MMM. So I wanted to pull all of that into this, and I held back, but happy to chat more about that. But it's a pretty robust, we had McKinsey come in and help us like put it all together. So it's a pretty robust measurement plan that we ended up with.
Brittany, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.